interesting because before I started learning astrology, in the summers I used to go to my grandmother in a village in the mountains in Bulgaria. They were properly living off the earth like peasants, And the folklore, national folklore knowledge, all the people there knew how to take care of their hair, and they always say you have to cut your hair only when the moon is growing. And they were also taking care of the land and sowing things, like the food and vegetables on certain days according to the moon. So this knowledge has been around for thousands of generations, thousands of years. People knew it, and it's been handed down to, even to us through some weird practices of the folklore, which we might consider outdated, but were actually so true. And I always wondered why I thought these were like superstitions that my grandmother always cut her hair when the moon is growing, or, and once I learned astrology, I realized it's working actually, and it's in manuals of old beauty books. The ancient Egyptians also had beauty books and advices, so basically this is the tip. When the moon is growing, you can cut your hair. It means from the new moon till the full moon. Because if you want a strong hair, a hair that grows faster, a fuller hair, you have to cut it on a growing moon. Just like the moon is growing, so your hair will be growing more healthy. And if you cut your hair when the moon is diminishing, what's it called in English? Waning. When the moon is waning, then your hair starts getting more thin, starts breaking off easily, starts growing very slowly, very slowly. If you cut your hair closer to the new moon, after the new moon, the first week after the new moon, for instance, your hair will start growing very fast. If you cut your hair close to the full moon, like say 2 or 3 days before the full moon, your hair will not be growing so much faster, but it will be growing much fuller. And so when it gets closer to the full moon, when you cut your hair, it comes out thicker. So if you are looking after thickness, cut your hair 2 or 3 days before the full moon, or 1 or 2 days before the full moon. If you want your hair to grow faster, but you don't want so much fullness, cut it after the new moon comes, after 2 or 3 days after the new moon, closer towards the new moon, because you give more space for growth then. Because, the moon has much more days to grow till it gets full, so in the same way your hair will be growing much faster. And never cut your hair, never usually cut or wash your hair during days when the moon is in water signs, in Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And I thought this sounds strange, why? Water signs is good to wash your hair, but no, because it makes it greasier. Your hair starts growing greasier, and your hair starts flying away and getting out of shape, and I've noticed it. So if you have... I have this moon calendar on my website. If you don't know what sign the moon is in, I give advice then when to wash your hair and when to cut it when it's advisable. But when the moon is in water sign, it just doesn't come out well. If you want to dye your hair, do it when the moon is in a fixed sign, because this way the hair, the dye will be much more permanent and stable. So basically, when the moon is in Leo, in Taurus, in Aquarius, avoid Scorpio again because it's water sign, But if you don't have an option, Scorpio will work as well. If you want, the best days for cutting the hair is when the moon is growing and at the same time it's in the sign of Leo. Leo is the mane, Leo has a great mane. Often Leo ascendants have very good hair. People with strong Leo or on the ascendant, they have something particular and quite good hair. Or do it when the moon is in Taurus. It's a very great sign because the sun, Taurus is a very earthy, stable sign, so it gives strength to your hair as well. If you cut it, and your hair starts, if you cut it when it's in Virgo or Libra, it's also a very great day to cut it. But these are when you cut it when the moon is in Virgo or Libra consistently when it's growing, your hair might get more curly. For some reason, Libra and Virgo moon in those days makes the hair a bit more coming out, a bit more wavy. But there are also great days to cut your hair. And also if you're going to have permanent curls or going to have a hairstyle curling, if you do it on the days when the moon is in Libra or Virgo, it's great. The curls will hold much longer. They'll be great inside, they will look greater, and they'll be much more, much more sightly and pleasant to the eye. So yeah, this is like if you remember one thing out of this is just cut your hair when the moon is growing only. That's a very easy thing to